I'm Grant Paxton. I am here in the Bonsai Podcast room of Workspace Provision. My special guest today, Mr. Wes Harper. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Appreciate you having me come in.
Yes, sir. He's our special guest. He knows what it means to rough it.
You could say that. Yeah, that's a very broad brush you're painting with right there.
That's right. Essentially, you're an entrepreneur, you're an outdoorsman, and a survivalist. And we're excited to have you on our podcast show. I want you to tell our listeners who you are, what you're all about, and your experience with the Discovery Channel's Naked and Afraid.
Sure. I mean, there's a lot. I'm into a lot of things.
Yeah.
Let's not mix words here. Wes Harper, I live in up at Lake Gaston. I used to be here in Raleigh and Cary for 25 years and ended up moving up there with my wife, Molly. We've got 5 kids, blended family. They're all grown and out of the house now. I own Lightwire. We're an IT firm.
They do our network.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. We do a lot of networking and firewalls and wireless and everything that you plug into a wall. I also am the president of a company called Survival Mastery, and it's a subscription website where you get in-depth training from people like me and other actually world-renowned survivalists. And so that's going on. And then I'm also a recurring cast member on the Discovery show Naked and Afraid.
Excellent. I went on your website. It's wesharper.com, correct?
Yeah, wesharper.com.
And you have swag and a little bit of everything available on there.
I've been building it up for a while now, and I figured, why not?
Excellent.
You know, people are always looking for something. You know, they watch the show and they want to have a piece of it. And so I've got some stuff on there.
Tell us how you got involved and what your role was with Naked and Afraid.
Sure. I was a fan of the show. I watched it since its inception, me and my wife, Molly. And I grew frustrated with the show. I was arguing with my TV. I really was. Armchair quarterback, the whole thing. And I probably did that for like 5 years, you know, and my wife was like, "Do you think you could do it, smart guy?" And I go, "I know I could do it." And so one day we were watching the show and I was particularly boisterous. And she said, "Okay, smart guy, let's fill out an application." And so she got her laptop out and we filled it out while we were watching the show. And we were laughing and carrying on, you know, no big deal. And then I was at work the next day and my cell phone rang and it was from Los Angeles.
No way.
And I was like, oh my, this
It's
is
real now.
something.
Yeah.
And they had saw my application, something in it caught their eye. And then they interviewed me for days and months and all that. And then a year later, I was surviving in Brazil.
Wow.
Amazing.
I look forward to getting to the nitty gritty of your experience in the wilderness, but you had a background and you grew up as a mountain man, right?
You know, it was in Northern Virginia.
Okay.
But back before it was Northern Virginia,
Okay,
you know,
yeah.
and we were still, me and my brother Chris, we were running through creeks and catching crayfish, and you know, and I'm a Gen Xer. You know, we left the house in the morning. We didn't come back to the streetlights. We're on
Right.
all the stuff, you know, that you hear of. But that was really true for us.
Yeah.
We ran around and we learned how to be comfortable in the woods, you know, and my dad, of course, took us fishing and hunting since we were in diapers. And so we're very comfortable outside.
That's what I wondered, if there was a particular thing about your background that would it be the producer that reached out to you, or what I'm getting at is sometimes there's a sob story or a unique story or something that they pick for these individuals. Was it similar to that for this show?
You know, for me, I don't think it was any kind of sob story because I really don't have one. You know, it couldn't have been that. I think at the time I was 47, okay, and I was a blended family with 5 kids. And I really think they were trying to fill a spot of a fatherly figure type guy who had outdoor experience. I was also a marathon runner at the time, you know, and so I just had the stuff that I think they were looking for at the time. And it's amazing because, thousands of people apply to be on that show.
Yeah.
And something about it caught their eye, and I think they already had a spot. They were just trying to find the guy to fill that spot, and I fit the niche.
Excellent. We also, to the camera, we have Donna Klein, the head honcho here of Workspace Provision.
Hello.
I didn't properly introduce you, Donna.
No worries.
But feel free to chime in if you'd like. I know I'm kind of taking the reins here, but
Totally okay.
when you were in Brazil, you said, tell me more. This was the first time you were part of the show. And what was that? What was the process like for you to join?
It was absolutely amazing. One, I had never been on camera, to any degree before.
Okay.
And so I had the luxury of being on camera for the first time and taking my clothes off.
That's what I was going to say. And being naked.
Yeah.
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 So, really, it wasn't panicky, but I was just out of my element for about 15 minutes.
Gotcha.
And then I found, wow, this is my element. This is
Freedom.
Freedom. But you're vulnerable is
Yeah.
what it is. You put yourself in the most vulnerable state that a person could possibly be in. And then you say, go, let's see if you can survive out here. Let's see if you can make it. And the cameras, we're going to document your failures, your successes, every bit of it, we're going to document. And then when it's done, we're going to create a story and showcase your survival.
Got it. So not only had you not really been on camera, you went on camera naked for the first time. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct. Yeah.
And is it safe to say the naked part was a lot harder than the wilderness part?
No, it actually is not.
No?
Because, once it happens.
Only initially?
Only initially. First 15 minutes, maybe half hour of my first one, it was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable. But after just a few minutes, you get stung by something. You step on a thorn. You brush by something and you're bleeding. And all of a sudden, you don't really care anymore. You're thinking about bigger picture items,
right.
like how am I actually going to survive out here?
So you're partnered up with somebody from the get-go. Who was that individual?
Her name was Jessie. Real nice young girl. And we clicked like really quickly. It was her first time too.
Okay.
And so she was experiencing all the emotions that I was experiencing, and we figured out how to work together very quickly. And so that was really good. Was it awkward being with a woman who was also naked trying to survive? Yeah. Once again, for the first, half hour, that was, but then she was in the same situation I was.
Right.
She was getting hurt. She was getting stung.
Right.
So all of a sudden, all that kind of goes out the window and you just don't care anymore.
You were like Adam and Eve.
Then that's what the show's premise is based around.
Yeah.
It really has a little bit of that basis. It goes away very quickly, the awkwardness of not having clothes on. After a while, you don't even care or know or realize.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter anymore.
Like you said, you have bigger problems. Now, like when the show starts, I recall do you call yourself a contestant, I guess, when you're on it, or a survivalist? Or
Survivalist / cast.
Yeah, okay. So you're in the back of a truck, or you're on some old piece of machinery or something that's taking you out into the wilderness.
Yeah.
Is that all pretty candid? Is that how it felt?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's very candid, very accurate. You got to remember that for every 2,000 minutes that they film, you get 1 minute on TV.
Okay.
Wow.
And so there's more about what you don't see than actually what you do see. A lot of things go by that you really don't know happen, but they do. But yes, it's very real. That actually happened. It's very candid. Yeah, but every single thing you do during that time is documented.
Wow. So no, in several aspects, no privacy whatsoever. The vulnerability is there, like you said. Now, you are essentially thrown into the wilderness in Brazil. What's the first thing you did? What was going in your mind? Did you make yourself a list? Did you team up with your partner and say, let's do this, this, and this? Was one of you more of a a leader and a follower? Like, how did that go?
Well, she had probably applied about the same time I did, a year earlier.
Okay.
And so we had a year to kind of hope and cross our fingers that we were actually going to get selected to be on the show. So during that time, you make your mental list of this happens first, this happens second, this happens third. And she had done the same thing. And so we were in total alignment that first things first, we got to get somewhere where there's a water source. Second, we have to get a shelter built so that we don't get soaked with rain. We had storms coming in. It was very obvious. And then third, hopefully a fire. And so we were in lockstep on those things. And so it really only took us 5 minutes of, hey, how you doing? I'm Wes. I'm Jesse.
Yeah.
Before we said, all right, let's get to work.
Yeah.
Are we aligned here? Yes, we are.
Okay.
And so then we went right after it.
Yeah. Hello, my name's Wes. Now let's survive.
That's really it. When they say go, you're on the clock. You're on the clock. And they never put you in on a good day. Not in the morning, not on a good day. They always make sure that basically you're going to have a very miserable first night. They don't want you lollygagging into this thing. They want to show you surviving. And so, you get put in maybe 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You've got maybe 4 hours before nightfall hits, storm clouds looming. And so yeah, your first night on any challenge is the worst night of your life.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you told me that season 5 was your favorite season. This last season, was that 5?
Okay, so it's
12, I think.
It's a different season. This is my 6th challenge.
Okay.
So this is the 6th time I've done this. You'd think I would be smarter by now, but glutton for punishment.
Yeah.
And this is my absolute favorite one.
Tell us why.
It's called Naked and Afraid Apocalypse.
Okay, you got the shirt on.
I do have the shirt on. I like to represent. They throw us out into a area that has been scorched. It has been burnt to the ground, basically. And there were civilizations there before, but they had died out due to the disease and actually by lions killing them. That's pretty well documented there. And then whoever's left just said, we're out of here. We can't, this is not survivable. And so we step into that land that was not survivable and are asked to survive.
Yeah.
Wow. And is it still Brazil?
This is in South Africa. This is in Limpopo, South Africa. So, I like a challenge clearly.
Clearly.
Because this is my 6th time doing it. And so.
Still with Jess?
No, this is a different group of survivalists. These are. I'm one of the legends of the show because I've done a lot.
Yeah.
And so, I've reached this upper echelon of a survivalist. And then there were 4 of us. And then the rest of the people, totaling 12, were people who have done one show, basically. And so they don't have the experience of a long commitment in survival. They maybe have 14 days or 21 days, but they don't have the longer ones.
Was this was a 40-day?
It's a 35-day challenge.
Okay, yeah.
35-day challenge. And right now, we've gone through episode 4. There's 4 more episodes to go. So to not do any spoilers, I can only talk about the first 4 episodes.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, this is definitely my favorite one. You see some real ingenuity. We're allowed to use anything that people left behind, including some block structures that have been, collapsed and stuff, and old tools that they abandoned. So we get to use anything we find, which is a real anomaly for Naked and Afraid, because usually you get what you bring in there, which is one item, and that's all you get.
What do you usually bring?
Well, it's pretty standard to have a knife, a pot, and a fire starter because, you're in an environment where those things have to happen. You have to be able to cut, have to be able to start a fire to boil your water, and you have to have a container for your water. That's like a Naked and Afraid standard. Sometimes they go off script with that and substitute a few different things, but that's standard. On this one, we got to bring a couple different items because it was a longer challenge. So I was in charge of 2 other people. I was the legend mentor for 2 people in my group. And between the 3 of us, we had a pot and a fire starter, a bow and arrow, and a knife. And I think that's all we had. But that was more than I've ever had on any other challenge, so I was grateful for it.
So what do you eat mostly?
Well, it changes from challenge to challenge. I have eaten the worst things you can imagine. This last episode showed me eating dung beetles out of elephant dung.
Oh, wonderful.
I've eaten grub worms, regular worms, beetles, lizards, larvae of multiple types of insecty animals, termites. It's a real nice one when you get a snake. I killed a rattlesnake and got to eat that.
Yeah.
That was wonderful. I've actually, on my first trip to South Africa, they gave me a bow and arrow to use, and I was able to harvest 3 game animals.
Wow.
So when you're eating meat, you're living.
Yeah.
That feels like
definitely
a real treat, and that's what can really push you through a challenge.
Do you cook these things on the fire, or do you eat it raw?
It depends on what it is. No, the red meat always goes on the fire. But everything else I think I've mentioned, eating it raw or maybe on a flat rock that's heated up, scorpions and little fish and minnows and catfish. I mean, everything.
Every time I eat out at a restaurant, I'm worried I'm going to get sick. Do you feel like everything you ate, I'm going to get sick, or were you sick all the time?
Oh, surprisingly not. I did eat a couple things that made me sick. I got into eating an aloe plant, and supposedly aloe is edible, but apparently not this one.
Not that one.
Yeah, me and my partner Gwen got quite poisoned from that.
Wow.
Took us a couple days of just getting over that.
That has to be hard when you're trying to stay hydrated.
It's extremely difficult. And there's nothing like baptism of naked and afraid to throw up on TV.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
I mean, that's
what everyone wants to see.
When I watch the show and I see somebody throw up on TV, I go, okay, you made it.
Yeah.
You're there. You're part of the club. Yeah, but that's happened multiple times to me, eating just something bad and then throwing up for a day.
Man, I can't imagine.
You think you'll do it again after this one?
Oh,
Or is this the end, the
That's
apocalypse?
a subject of a lot of debate. I retire after every single challenge I do. I say, that's it. I'm done. And my wife goes, yes, you are done. And, we have those discussions. But then the phone rings 6 months later or a year later, and they're like, hey, Wes, do you want to go to Ecuador and survive? And by that time, I've forgotten about the pain and the suffering. I know it's there.
Yeah.
I haven't completely forgot, but it's dulled those memories.
Yeah.
But I do remember all the successes
Uh-huh.
and actually the good times I've had out there
Okay.
and my love for it. And I go, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Right. You are a legend in this realm. Did I see the assassin? Is that your nickname?
Yeah.
What is that all about?
So on the first time I was in South Africa, when I harvested 3 big game animals,
Wow.
it was good
With your pocket knife?
with my bow and arrow. I think it's the most that anybody's harvested on a Naked and Afraid challenge. Well, one of the fans, when I came back home, they said, dang, every time he goes in the woods, he comes back with dinner. He's like an assassin. And then the fan clubs picked up on that. And so they started calling me the assassin. And before long, I couldn't get away from it.
It just
All of a
stuck.
sudden, it stuck. So yes, much to my mom's chagrin, I am Wes the Assassin Harper. Forevermore.
So we got over the fact that you were naked on the show. Everybody's gonna. I'm sure maybe 50% of the people that watch it are like, these people are actually going to be naked. We have to see this or whatever.
Sure.
But Donna, what are some of the other funny questions, or maybe the elephants in the room that people think that maybe aren't asked always?
Well, one of the things is, what was the first thing that you ate when you returned to civilization? Like, what were you craving when you got back?
Well, nothing replaces a good pizza. I mean, really a good pizza. I'm a beer drinker, so, I was dying for a cold brew.
Yeah.
I just really was. And then because you're starving for so long, you actually eat everything you can.
You lose weight?
Oh,
I'm sure.
a ton of weight. My first challenge in 21 days, I lost 37 pounds.
Whoa.
Wow.
And so you're really starvation eating at that point. Your body is very confused about what's happening. Your brain is not worth a duty because it's also been starved. and you just shovel food in. So everything you lost, you make back in 2 weeks.
Wow. Oh, wow, yeah.
And then the course of the following 2 months, you put on an extra 10
Yeah.
until you kind of get your brain back and your body back to moderating what you eat.
That's right.
And so it's an undertaking. It can take 6 months to a year for your body to get back to just normal eating habits and digestion and processes and metabolism. It can take up to a year for that to happen.
Yeah, you're kind of in a level of shock.
Yeah, you really are. And since I've done one almost every single year, just about the time I recover,
you go back.
I go back. My body is so confused; it doesn't know if it's coming or going. I swear.
Oh man.
So, Wes, if you were to recommend one survival skill that everyone should know, what would it be?
Well, it's mental fortitude. It's not a tool you bring or anything like that. It's absolutely mental fortitude. And I think you have to be prepared to have a plan. You have to have a plan when you go into these things. And you may change your plan after 2 hours. You may see what's not working. You have to make another plan. You can't just fly by the seat of your pants. People who do that fail routinely. They tap out. They can't take it. And it's a lot like business, to be honest. And I think that's why there's so many similarities for me personally, is because I have a very good business plan. Well, I also had a plan for survival. Oops, that didn't work. Well, okay, take a deep breath, make a new plan. And then you find the plan that does work, and then you stick to it.
So don't get rattled by failure. Just make a new plan.
Absolutely. No, failure is part of the deal.
Yeah.
Failure is your key to success. You know, you learn your lessons on the failures, and then you get to watch them on TV later about all your failures.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, when you fail at something, that's all right. You just switch gears and do it differently and create your new plan.
I think that's great advice.
Thank you.
Excellent. Before we wrap up our session here, and we do so appreciate this. This is excellent. Maybe tell us more. So when you're not on Naked and Afraid, you're managing Lightwire, your company. Maybe to our listeners, just tell them about what you're looking for as far as business goes, and then maybe recap on your website and the things you're doing, just to gain some traffic for what your endeavors are.
Yeah, I appreciate that. No, Lightwire Inc. It's actually been mine for 29 years. So 29 years ago, there wasn't a whole lot of IT as such. A lot of us didn't have a cell phone even at that point. But as IT evolved, so did I and the company, to a point where now we're a managed service company, which means we basically offer flat rates for taking care of people's IT. Try to do it proactively. We provide equipment. Our end game is that people just go to their office or their home office and work. They don't have to worry about IT. They don't have to mess around with something for 2 hours to get it to work when they could be working 2 hours in their actual business. And so that's our whole goal. I've got a great staff. We're here in Raleigh.
Can I say something?
Please.
I would just like to say that they really saved me here at Workspace, because we were looking for an IT solution, and all of the quotes that we were being given were like huge. And I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? And then I called Wes, and he's like, oh no, I can help you. And they came in, and that's been more than a year ago now, and it's been amazing.
Well, thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. We're a very personal company. A lot of people think IT guys are just like robots or people in India, and we're not. Yeah. We're local. We have families. We know you all have families, and we talk about that stuff. So it's a very warm relationship we have with our clients.
Yeah, it's been fantastic.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, thanks again. I say it over and over again. I can't thank folks enough. So this is big for us here at Workspace. And finally, your website, wesharper.com. I encourage folks that do listen to this to check that out, buy some swag, see the next time that you put yourself to the elements or whatever it may be.
I appreciate that. And Lightwire is lightwireinc.com as well for the business side of the house.
Okay. Excellent. Any closing remarks, Donna?
One more question. If you had your pick of any contestant in the world for your next run of this, who would that be?
I would have to say it's my current partner, Steve.
Ah, nice.
He's from Liverpool. I can't understand 2 words he says. I'll be honest, because his accent is really thick. But you want to talk about a good person, a hard worker.
Wow.
We got along. It was like we're brothers, born from the same womb. And so yeah, I'd take him back in a heartbeat.
All right. Well, we really appreciate you, Wes, and I thank you so much for coming and talking to us today. And we wish you the best of luck on your Naked and Afraid apocalypse.
Hey,
season.
thanks very much. This has been great.
Thank you.
Cool.